Hey Summit family, it's hard to believe that 2018 has come to a close and it is already time to review our year again. And this is one of my favorite things we do every year, because sometimes in the midst of all the craziness and all the things we get to do as a church, we forget about all that God is doing. And this is just a great time for us to step back and look at the previous year and all that God has done. In 2018, we averaged 1,220 people per weekend in attendance at Summit Church. Now this represents about a 110% increase over the previous year. The two biggest weekends for attendance here at Summit Church every year are both Christmas Eve and Easter. And Easter 2018, we had 2,273 people in attendance. It was an incredible weekend. We had a great time, and we saw over 30 people saved that weekend, people that made decisions to follow Christ. Now, if you just look at that, you go, that's great, but let me just put it in context for you. In 2017, we had 1,848, so we saw a big jump from 2017 to 2018. In 2017, on Christmas Eve, we had 2,158 in attendance for our 4 Christmas Eve services here at Summit. 2018, we decided to do 6, and we lost count at over 3,000 people in attendance on Christmas Eve weekend. We saw 60 people plus make decisions for Jesus that weekend, and it just was an incredible time to celebrate. What an incredible opportunity we have as a church to influence the culture of our community. And that 3,000 people in our community came to worship with us at Christmas Eve, and that gives us an opportunity to speak into them and help influence the culture of our town and our community. Here at Summit Church, we talk a lot about radical generosity. It's one of our core values, and we believe that God is radically generous, so we want to live radically generous as well. We encourage our church to live this way, and we as a congregation try to do this as well. And so I'm excited to tell you that in 2018, we brought in $1,998,835.39. That represents an increase of about 13.6% over our previous year's income. And I'm so grateful for that. We couldn't do that if it wasn't for the generosity of people just like you. So thank you so much. We effectively cut our budget from last year to this year. We cut our spending by 6%. So we cut our spending by almost $112,000 from 2017 to 2018. So when you partner that with the 13.6% increase that we had on our income, it has been an incredible year, and God has truly blessed us in so many ways. So in years past, when we talk about our expenses, what we typically do is we break it down into line items. And this is accurate to help you know what we spent, but it's not always accurate to help you understand what we really value in the ministry that's involved in some of those line items. And so what we're doing this year is we're breaking it down into 5 categories. These are our core ministries, the ones that we're gonna nail. If we can't do anything else, we're gonna do these really well. And that's where we spent our money in 2018, so I wanna share that with you today. We talk about small groups a lot, and they're vitally important in our church, especially as we grow, because we wanna create smaller places and communities for you to be able to connect with. This year we had over 500 people actively involved in small groups, which is fantastic. The thing that's a little bit challenging is our goal is to have 80% of the people who attend our church on a weekend actively involved in a small group. Now again, if you remember the numbers, 1,200 attend on a weekend and 500 are actively involved in small groups. So what that means is we've got a gap to make up. We've got about 39% that we're trying to gain to connect more people to small groups. Because again, this is all about making sure people go deeper in their walk with Christ and have deeper relationships with the people around them. So with that said, let me tell you, this year we spent $222,455 on small groups and small group ministry. Now, what that means is we divide up our staff and their time and all the different things we spend on small groups, whether it's curriculum, direct things like that, or maybe it's things like, for me, there's a portion of my time I spend on small groups that is directed toward that ministry. Our kids ministry is a fantastic part of the ministry team here at Summit. If you've been through Growth Track, I've told you, hey, if you're not sure where to get plugged in, find a place on our kids team or find a place on tech team. And a lot of people who join the kids team never leave because they fall in love with it and they decide, man, this is what I'm called to do. And there's just something powerful about being connected with those kids. Every week they're seeing lives changed. And I'm happy to report to you over 100 children made decisions for Jesus Christ in 2018 in Summit Kids. These are kids that their lives and their destinies are being changed because we're investing there, because we believe in them. And I just want you to know, this is an incredible number. 100 kids' destinies are transformed because we've invested, because we've provided a place for them to hear the gospel. And so I'm just so grateful that you're a part of that. Summit Youth is, it's incredible. I can hardly go up there because I'm too old and my energy level is so much lower than all theirs, but it's so much fun to see what God is doing there. On a normal Wednesday night, we average over 100 kids in attendance in Summit Youth, and that's pretty spectacular. But I want you to know, we saw over 150 decisions for Jesus Christ through our regular weeks, the Wednesday night services, our retreats, and our camps. That's 150 teenagers whose lives are changed forever because we've chosen to invest in them. So this year, for our youth and kids ministry, we spent $332,184. Now this includes the cost of the facility. This includes what we invest in their resources. It includes Pastor Ricky and Christina. Those are all investments in ministry. And so I'm so excited that we've seen a good return on our investment this year. One of the most important things we do here at Summit Church is the weekend experience. People get to know us by attending on weekends or watching online on the weekends. And weekends are really important here. That's where we see people saved, and it's where we see lives transformed and baby steps are taken. And that's where we funnel people to places like Growth Track or small groups and serving groups, all those kind of things that help them grow in their faith. And so weekends are a really important part of what we do. I don't think we would be the church we are without the weekends. And so just so you know the number, this year we've invested $460,225 in our weekends. So again, that includes a lot of my salary and Pastor Todd, but it also includes some of our other things we do, whether it's guest speakers or whether it's things like at the movies. All these things are to create a great weekend experience so that people can have their eyes open to who God is. From the very founding of our church back in 1948 to today, we value missions, we value reaching lost people, whether it's in our community, whether it's across the street or around the globe. And we value sending people, we value sending resources as well. We want to partner with our local organizations, we want to partner with churches throughout our region, throughout the United States, and bless missionaries all over the world as well. And we have made that a priority in how we spend our money. So when we talk about missions and local outreach, we're talking about a number of different things. We're talking about supporting foreign missions, sending people on mission trips. We're talking about local partnerships. We're talking about things like the Back 40 conference, where really our church doesn't benefit from that, but we're helping other churches and helping them expand their footprint as well and helping them grow. One of the things that we do that you hear a lot about is our mission trips. We send people on world reach trips, and this last year we sent 39 people on 4 different trips all over the world to spread the gospel. This last year we did 3 Easter outreaches. We did 2 in Indiana and 1 in Blairsville, and it was so incredible. We had over 3,000 people attend between the 3 locations. We had over 150 volunteers, and in Blairsville, where we had never done it before, we saw around 500 people show up for the event, and I can't wait to see what God's gonna do this year. We also did STARLIT Night, one of my favorite things we do throughout the year. We hosted that at the KCAC this year. We saw over 180 attendees present. We also saw them bring dates or their attendance with them. And then we had over 150 volunteers in attendance as well to create one of the best nights of some of these people's lives. Every year we host a dinner for IUPATTY'S and for homecoming to help the first responders, the police officers, the EMTs, the state police, the borough police, IUP police. All these folks are people that they are underserved, that they're forgotten about during this season, and we want to come alongside and help them. We also did spring and fall reach initiatives where we went out to 32 different projects and blessed our community. These were parks and nursing homes and churches, and we just wanted to come alongside them and say, we love you, and no strings attached, we want to bless you. And we saw 223 different people come to serve those projects. And that shows me that our church is generous, that they know what it means to reach out and to bless others. I love our teacher appreciation, and every year it's grown a little bit. In 2018, we were able to serve every school teacher in our school district. Every school teacher, every staff member, we were able to bless with a gift bag, be able to give them breakfast. A number of them got Steelers tickets that we gave away, and it really was an incredible way to begin the school year. And we heard so much feedback from people saying, thank you for what you're doing. People don't normally love us like this. We heard things like that over and over and over. So in 2018, we as a church spent $528,000 on local and foreign outreach, missions, projects, benevolence, all the things we do as a church. Over $500,000 was spent from this body to see the kingdom of God advance, to see people change, to see lives transformed outside this church. We do have one other category because we had some things that really didn't fit perfectly anywhere else, and they're an important part of what we do. And so we came up with a creative name for that. It's called Other Ministries. I came up with that myself. And other ministries include things like our young adult ministry, Summit IUP, the men's ministry that we began this year, and also women's ministry here at Summit Church. And obviously women's ministry is the most notable of those because it is the biggest, it has the most impact, not just in our church, but in our region. It really is incredible to see what God is doing and the scale he's doing it on. We had over 750 women attend She Is conference this year. When you count online audience, the people that were watching, and all of our volunteers, we had well over 1,000 people that engaged in the She Is conference this year. And the turnout was so good that we're actually having to move over to the KCAC this next year. But when you look at all of our expenses when it comes to other ministry, we spent $276,782 on other ministry this year. We don't expect to have big membership numbers, but I'm so proud of the 53 people this year that have said, hey, I'm responsible for Summit Church and I'm stepping up to that challenge. We also baptized 66 people in water this year. This year we started a group called Freedom Groups. We had freedom classes, and we had a number of them throughout the year, and we're gonna have even more in 2019. But in 2018, we had 120 people went through our freedom groups, and they participated in those, and we had so much good feedback of people that their lives were changed and it transformed them. So I just want to challenge you too. Find a freedom group, get plugged into one. We started Growth Track in February of 2018, and I've been pressuring you nonstop since then to go through Growth Track. And I'm so glad to tell you that 254 people have completed Growth Track to this point. It's 254 people who are discovering their purposes in God. The last thing I want to share with you, this is the most important number we talk about every single year, but this year at Summit Church, we saw 500 people make decisions for Christ. I'm telling you, God is on the move. God's doing something incredible, and I'm so grateful that we get to be a part of it. As we move into 2019, let's have big faith and believe for big things for the church, for your family, for you as an individual, and I believe it's going to come to pass. I think 2019 is going to be an incredible year for us. I'm so grateful. I almost made it through this without crying, but I'm so grateful that you've been on this journey with us so far. I can't wait to see what's to come. God bless you guys.